I'm Myke Shrews,
And after this,
and you're listening to
the Munster Cast.
episode 45. Yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. I am, of course, your host, Myke Shrews, here with my co-host and friend, Tivis. Tivis, how you doing today, my man?
Yeah. We're a bit pressed for time, if you can't tell. So, not that there's a whole lot to talk about. We're doing the 4 documentaries that come on the box set, or if you bought America's First Fright DVD back when it was a standalone.
Yes, and you can go ahead and buy that box set if you have not yet done so at TheMunsterCast.com/Munsters box set. I think it is about $15 or $16 right now, actually, through that link. So definitely go there, pick up a copy, and enjoy the documentaries on there. I know I enjoyed some of them for sure. You can also go to just straight up the Munster Cast and check out all of our content there, our shows, podcasts, articles, anything that you can think of is going to be there. Merch, we have merch links and everything too. If you want to just go straight to our merch area where neither one of us are wearing a shirt today, you can go to
Gen Con.
You can go to themunstercast.com/merch. Again, I apologize for going a little fast. Like Tivis said, we are a little stressed for time. Yep. You can also go over to Apple Podcasts or any podcast service that you listen to us on and leave us a review. If you are watching us on YouTube, please definitely leave some comments in the comment section so we know how we are doing and everything. We are appreciating all those comments coming in on all platforms and all the thumbs up and stars and all that fun stuff. So definitely thank you guys so much for all of that.
And one thing for me this week, you guys asked for a bit of a crossover. All 5 of us got together with the Hunters, and we tried to do it for the movie. It didn't work out. Today, as this releases, I am on the Munster Hunters. So we finally figured out a way for us to do a crossover. So if you want to check that out, I'm on there as well.
Definitely swing on over and check that out, guys. And
while you're doing the Country Club Munster, which, if you remember, we did back in February.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely be listening and seeing how you're representing our show over there, Tivis.
Pretty accurate.
All right, guys, and also don't forget to pick up the October issue of Remind magazine. Definitely swing on over to themunstercast.com/remindmag and get a copy of that too. That has it's all Munsters content and stuff in there for Halloween, of course, and because I think the movie came out and everything else too. So definitely order a copy of that there. And anything else you can think of that they can do real quick before we dive into this, my man?
If you haven't watched the documentaries, they're on season 2, disc 5.
Okay. Awesome. And then lastly, but not least, you can find us on all social media platforms via The Munster Cast. That is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at The Munster Cast, and on YouTube via The Munster Cast, where you can see our pretty ugly faces. So definitely go over there, hit the subscribe button, bell icon, so you guys can get all of our fun content, which we released some special content last week since we were not doing an episode. We did a commentary for the 1910 Frankenstein silent film. So go over there, check that out, and you can also check out just the film by itself. We uploaded 2 separate videos, one's of the video itself and one's of our commentary with the video playing too.
It's really interesting.
All right. I think that's it.
Yeah. All right. We sped through that in like 5 minutes.
Okay. So today we are talking, as Tivis said, about the documentaries. And where do you want to start, my man?
Well, let's go with the big one, America's First Family of Fright. That was an interesting retrospective of the I know people are sick of this word, but it is what it is. It's a franchise.
Yeah.
And so Man, that was such an interesting ride, especially having just relatively recently finished the entire show and got into it, and then
Mm.
the whole how the other two films came about with the cast.
Yeah, no, the with the changes of Marilyn
And
and
Eddie.
everything and Eddie. I didn't really see him talk a whole lot about the change of Eddie. I think it was just kind of known they were going to do that after so long because he still wasn't a
Yeah,
kid.
they mostly went into Maryland.
Um,
Um,
I was glad to see though that in that where they were talking about going into, I don't remember if it was in the Family of Fright or Al Lewis's specific documentary, because as I said that we watched four of these, and
yeah,
so on there it was Family of Fright, America's First Family of Fright, Al Lewis, Forever Grandpa, Fred Gwynne, More Than a Munster, and Yvonne DiCarlo, Gilded Lily.
which
uh
we've been saying her name wrong. Apparently, it's Yvonne.
Yvonne DiCarlo. Anyways,
I'm a bit upset nobody's corrected me, but
yeah, I think everyone says Yvonne. I feel, as far as I've heard
it
verbally,
definitely
anyways.
sounded like Yvonne in her documentary
Okay.
whenever her son said it.
Yeah. Maybe that's just a son being a jerk. Like, screw you. I'll say your name how I want to say it, Ma.
But what were you saying? What they go into?
So it was cool to see that we weren't the only ones who thought that Munster's Revenge was kind of weak on the script side.
Oh,
As
that was in
Al,
Al Lewis's. Yeah,
yeah, Al Lewis definitely was talking about that. So it was nice to see that we weren't the only ones.
mm,
Um, we weren't the only ones that had an issue with that. So I would
yeah,
like to know other people's thoughts on that film as well. If you guys want to go back, you can watch our or listen to the podcast where we talked about Munster's Revenge, and give
yeah.
us your 2 cents on what you think about the film if you've seen it.
The first Family of Fright is the only one that went beyond that because
Yeah.
the other three obviously focused on the three actors' lives, and
Right.
they were involved in Munsters Today or the '90s movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they had a cameo, but it wasn't talked about.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, especially since Fred had passed by then, sadly.
They loosely talked about it with the remaining cast, which it wasn't even like it was the just the cast from the actual TV show, not like the replacement cast members and stuff like that that they did. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was interesting to see some of the things, like a lot of this stuff we kind of gathered as we were going through and learning
Mhm.
about different stuff, doing the backstory or the trivia and stuff like that. I feel I've watched America's First Family of Fright a couple of times, like off of YouTube or something, possibly, or at least clips, because a lot of it was coming back to me in there. Um, but yeah, that one was definitely for people who don't know a whole lot about the history of the Munsters franchise, the content coming that we're going to be talking about and everything else, it definitely would help bring up some other things there. So I definitely appreciated it, man. And what did you think about how the documentary, like, because it felt like it was like the biography ones felt like they took clips from Fright, America's First Family of Fright. Sorry.
Well, First Family of Fright came out after.
Okay, so that probably grabbed clips from
Yeah,
there.
I got. Let's see. Fred's biography came out uh, in October of '99.
Okay.
Yvonne's was July of 2000, and Al's was November 2000, and then First Fright was July 2003.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it was all
It was around the time
fun.
of the Christmas movie, honestly. Um, Actually, I could tell you that exact. Oop, I
Okay.
accidentally opened Opera. Uh, Scary Little Monsters came out '96, so it was a couple years after.
Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah. I. I was probably in preparation for that movie. Then I would say they were probably trying to
Could be, yeah.
build some rapport with everybody and be like, hey, remember that thing that you liked? We're going to talk about it right here with the originals, and then we're going to give you a new one.
Uh, Honestly, it was really fascinating going into like the personal lives of these three actors, like
Mm,
seeing some of the issues they had in their lives, especially post Munsters. I mean, Lily was the only one that seemed all right after the show ended because she had a hell of a. I mean, in her documentary alone, it takes these are each 44 minutes a piece.
right.
It's half an hour before they even tease the Munsters coming up in this one. So, like, and you know, like her biography that came out that they bring up and stuff, like her autobiography, I should say, or
Mm,
I don't know if she penned it herself actually, but it like they seem to focus on a lot of the stuff that doesn't really matter so much today.
right.
Like the clip they decide to use of her talking about her book on the talk show. So, you slept with how many actors?
Yeah.
What? Who
Yeah.
cares?
The thing that's the thing about talk show hosts, like they for some reason when women come on to their things, they either talk about who they've slept with, especially back in the day. Like now it's a little bit better. It still has, some weird
Dude, I feel
questions,
like
but like women
if
always got asked who they slept with, what they're wearing, like even Scarlett Johansson was asked, like, do you wear underwear under your suit? Like, who asks that? Like, I don't even ask my wife that shit. Like, I can
uh
just tell,
I feel like if her whole career was happening like the height of it today, she would
uh
be kind of a symbol for, that the movement of moving away from that shit.
Right.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
she like I'll be honest, her biography was kind of the least interesting, but
Mhm.
it's because it was less drama filled, I guess I should say. I don't know how to
Right.
explain it, but
Like you could see where they
it,
tried to add some drama into it.
yeah, with her
Um,
husband losing his leg and stuff. But
with their
the
husband, which is drama. That's still like a sad thing,
oh,
but
that's terrible. I mean, I would have probably been more shocked if I hadn't have heard her talk about it in the Marine Land
yeah.
extras.
Yeah.
But just the sheer fact that she knew what she wanted and she was not going to let anyone stop her, and she was in control of her life, like with the fact that she tried to be a burlesque dancer and left one place to go to another because she didn't want to expose herself. Like that's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah. It is definitely like an icon, a symbol. Unfortunately, she didn't get the what's the word I want to say? She didn't get the
Recognition.
recognition, yes, as several others have, especially nowadays. But because when she was coming up, it was like
Mhm.
kind of the dawn of that for female actresses and stuff like that, where they
Yeah.
were finally getting out of, "Well, I'm not going to do this. Well, you're not going to do that. All right. Well, then you're going to get blacklisted, or you're just going to do B movies. So go over there, and we're going to hire somebody that will do what we want them to do. So
Yeah. She's
unfortunately, that's a big thing, and Hollywood still does that. Like there are many like people think Weinstein is like the worst thing from Hollywood. No, there are people we just don't know about yet.
which is sad but true, and it's not even just Hollywood. It's just
Mhm.
they're
Almost every industry. I'm not gonna say every industry, but almost every industry. Yeah.
be careful who you idolize because you never know who they really are.
Mm.
You know, it's sad. I mean, I've got stuff in my life that's been happening the past week with a company I enjoy content from, but you know,
Mm.
it's actually I was listening to another show and they said something interesting. I'm going to butcher it, but it's like enjoy what you like, but don't expect them to not have any issues
Oh
ever.
yeah,
'Cause-
definitely. Like
yeah.
I mean even like with so let's dive into like Al Lewis.
Yes.
Like with him because he got very political. Like I mean he was always into politics,
A
but
lot longer than I thought. Like
yeah.
that was insane. Like
I was
he
actually very
basically left the
surprised.
Munsters and started a political movement.
I was very surprised to hear, like, I knew he was part of the Green Party, but I didn't know he was the reason that the Green Party is able to be on the ballot still to this day. Like that was
Yeah.
pretty cool that he got them to that stance of like you're on the ballot now. Um
Which is a
and
huge win to all of us who think the two-party sucks.
yeah, definitely for just to get out of a two-party system, whether you agree with it or not, there's always a third option now, or other options, of course, at
Yeah,
this
there's
time.
plenty of options, but
But back then it was like that's pretty dope. Like he was the Grandpa Munster, who would have thought? The guy who was rigging elections and
yeah.
blowing people up and
Dude, that clip of him with Howard Stern, I know you played it before, but
yeah,
that was awesome.
yeah. Where he says fuck the FCC, fuck yeah. And I've seen that clip before too, because I didn't play it on the show. I actually just read it out, the what he said.
I know it was on the show. I don't remember in what form
Yeah,
though.
I just said the quote. Sorry, I keep hitting the microphone today. But I've seen it before, and it's always funny because you think Howard Stern, he's like, whatever. But no, he like grabbed the mic right from him, tried to get it from him. He
That was
like
back when he
freaking
used to be a
out.
little bit more tame.
Yeah, yeah.
He's kind of
So
going flux. He started out a little tame, went wild, and now he's kind of pulled back again.
yeah, uh, just like everybody else in the world. Um, he but seeing like how Al Lewis grew up, like how he was like he literally just was like, you know what? Screw it. You're moving back into your apartment. We're gonna break the lock and get you back into your house and put all your shit back in there, and your landlord can suck it, basically. And he was doing this stuff when he was like, what they said, 19, 18, something like that, maybe younger. I was just like amazed by it all. So it was pretty cool to see the strengths of these human beings, being these like strong-willed people. Lily was a strong-willed woman, a strong-willed person in general, woman
Yeah.
or not. Or not Lily, sorry, Yvonne. And then you have Grandpa Al Lewis. He was just a very strong. He had his own vision of how he thought the world should be laid out. Whether you
Yeah.
agree with it or not, you have to admire what he was trying to do. Like he did a lot of stuff for black rights and a bunch of other things. So it's a miracle
He
we
went
don't
head to
hear.
head with Rudy Giuliani and Hillary Clinton. That's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
But you really don't hear these things when you are even discussing history,
Yeah.
and these are like
Oops.
pivotal, I would think anyways, they're pivotal moments in our evolution as a country, um because it's like, how did you get the Green Party on the ballot? Nobody freaking knows that. I didn't know that. I just thought they signed some papers and got it on there. I didn't know he had to actually work his ass off really hard to get it on there.
Yeah.
And,
And it's
and
also, you know, going into their personal lives with what happened to his, first wife, which is extremely tragic.
mhm,
Like, I don't, I feel so bad for everyone involved in that. And, how he had to basically, he wanted to move away from grandpa, but then he had to embrace him and kind of
yeah,
learned to live with being grandpa for the rest of his life. Um,
right. Which is
it's
where you get your silly, scary stories and your Saturdays with Grandpa and all that stuff.
little
And
monsters, him returning.
yeah, Little Munsters. Um, and you got him to return. He actually returned as Grandpa because they offered him a buttload of money. They,
Yeah.
they even say in the thing, like, he was like, I don't like the script. I'm not going to do this. But they offered him a crap load of money.
Mhm.
Same thing for Fred. Like, Fred didn't want to
Yeah.
do it, but they gave him a big bunch of money.
It's fascinating because we've heard before that Fred tried, which, by the way, is the one of the three personal biographies that I found the most fascinating about Fred, uh, just his whole life.
Hmm.
But the kind of parallel trajectory where Grandpa was embracing, or Al was embracing Grandpa, and Fred was doing everything he could to try and distance himself, and it actually
Right.
caused a strain on their friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I
And
mean, you gotta think though. Sometimes it's like it's tough because there are people that do that already with characters. Like look at Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. They embrace Jay and Silent Bob because
mhm,
that's really like their bread and butter. But like
yeah,
imagine if Kevin Smith was like, "Nah, I'm not going to do this anymore." You can't have Jay without Silent Bob. You like,
yeah,
you just can't. So when you have Grandpa without Herman, it kind of hurts it a little bit there and I understand where it could put a strain on a friendship possibly, but it's like, it happens. Um, I've gone through that in the past already with creative stuff that I've done where it's like, one of us, you move on and the other doesn't, and you got to just, grow
yeah.
and figure it out for yourself. And which I
Well,
feel Al did. He figured
yeah.
it out.
I mean, everyone wants has their own,
Mm-hmm.
goals in mind. Fred wanted to be, an actor. He wanted to act. He wanted to show that he had range.
Right.
And uh Al was kind of just, I need to help my family, so I'm going to do everything I can, and that means, taking on, the role that I've tried to, kind of distance myself from.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I enjoyed Al's documentary. I didn't know a whole lot about Al Lewis pre like Car 54. you know? Like I
Yeah, I
didn't
didn't
know it.
realize he was a cameo and then, or a guest, and then they
Yeah.
gave him a role.
And it's interesting to see how like he went from like he was being a real good, uh citizen, we'll say, a good person in his community
Mhm.
and trying to build his community up and do all these things. And you would think that would instantly lead him to like a political area. But instead he's like, no, I like acting. I'm gonna go do this stuff for a while. and and it worked out for him because he was able to use then his acting abilities, his career as an actor, as grandpa, to
In his
jumpstart his
political, yeah.
political. Yeah, which is awesome. And but nowadays we see actors try and do that and we're like, wait. Just shut up, please.
Yeah.
But with him, I think
Well,
that
until
he
we
comes
get
from a
future King The
different
Rock. Yeah.
I think it comes from a different era too of human beings in general. Like,
Well, he
uh
wasn't just using his star power either. He was out, like, he didn't
he,
have budgets for his advertising for his campaigns. He was
right.
literally out there with the people, talking
Yeah.
with them,
Yeah.
hearing them, listening to them.
Well, he was a
And
good
that's something you don't
activist.
get from any politician today. They go to these
Right.
rallies and stuff and speak to us. They don't speak for us or, to
Yeah.
listen to us at all.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Especially like, nowadays you see like a debate for political office. I'm like, I don't need to hear you guys bicker and argue for 3 hours. I know if I'm gonna vote
God,
for one of you or not by like the end of the first debate. We
people
don't
who
need
watch
20
that
of them
stuff
a
isn't
year.
are insane. I'll be honest with you. Just read the summaries.
Honestly, I think the debates hurt both candidates all the time, or all the candidates,
Wow.
depending on how many are in
I
the
don't want
debate.
to go too much into a political talk, but
No, no,
God,
this is
da-
in
well,
general.
I
Like,
meant just what pisses me off.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
If you're gonna hold debates with fucking everyone. Like, come
yeah,
on, why is it
yeah,
just this? It's a joke. It's a
yeah,
joke. It's all
yeah.
just a fucking joke.
Which I think is where, like, with Al Lewis, it's like, like I said, he got the Green Party on the ballot. Why don't we get other third parties and stuff like that? No, it's just red and blue. No one cares about anybody else right now.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see that, he as an actor in like, liberal Hollywood and stuff like that was able to break through and be like, hey, we're gonna try something new now, and we're gonna
Hmm.
do this. And he did it, and he ran and everything, and he did great for independence. And we need someone else like that nowadays to do something different in the political spectrum, I think. Um, as far as, changing things up. I don't really care what side everybody's on. I honestly don't. I'm not that person. But like when you do changing up and stuff like that, it's pretty cool. Um but I also think that, when grandpa retired and he started his own restaurant, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's a
Al
shame
Lewis,
that people only went to the restaurant to meet him, but because it
right.
folded as soon as he stopped.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, but it was cool that Fred was the one who did the artwork for the
Yeah, that
logo and
was
stuff
great.
for him and all that. So I
Because
thought that was pretty.
Fred is an incredible artist. They show off some of
Yeah.
his work, and he had some range to his art.
Hmm. Hmm. Definitely. I appreciated all those ones, man. But let's dive into Fred because Fred had the most. Uh, it's they dramatized his version the most, I would say. Um,
Yeah, he had a lot in his life, and some of
mm,
it, like, they didn't shy away from making him sound not such a great guy, which,
well, yeah. I
I
mean,
appreciate, but
yeah, you can't just make all these actors sound like great. Like even Al Lewis, there were parts in there I was just like, well, that just makes him sound like an asshole. But
yeah,
it happens. There, people are people. We're human. We
yeah.
have that bad side, the good side. The only thing is, hopefully, you work on meshing them together and not just focusing on the bad.
Mhm.
So,
I think, yeah, going into Fred, we mentioned that he tried his hardest to get
mhm,
away from being known as Herman and was doing all types of roles to show his versatility and his
yeah.
abilities. And no matter what he did, he couldn't get away. And it that kind of goes with Grandpa was in Al. Oh my God, I can't stop doing it. Al was embracing Grandpa and still doing versatile roles and stuff.
But
So
not right away
it's
though.
just interesting.
He didn't start embracing grandpa right away
No, no,
until he
no. It took
realized
him
he had
like
to.
he was kind of forced into it until the point where it's a little bit of Stockholm probably took over.
Right, right. Um but I think for Fred too, like, he had like My Cousin Vinny where he was the
Hmm.
judge. He was Pet Cemetery where he
Oh
was
yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
forget the character's name, but
the
was
old
it
man.
Judd? He was Judd.
Yeah,
That's what it was. And great movies, by the way. Both of those films are great movies.
yeah. You
Um,
ever want to be scared to get out of bed every day?
some of us don't have cats anymore, so it's
I don't want
or
cats in my
babies.
room either while I sleep. So
But yeah, he did a bunch of films, just like Yvonne did, and just like Al did, and they all seem to get career wise from the outside. As people were just watching their careers and stuff like that, you wouldn't know that they had all these hardships. And who's to say they were actual hardships on them, because all documentaries have to have an angle.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
he could have been like, yeah, I want a career outside of Herman, so let me do that. And it's a struggle, but like even actors nowadays have that struggle. Like Ryan Reynolds literally is Ryan Reynolds and everything. The Rock is usually the Rock and everything. Like
yeah.
they're
I
typecast, and some of them embrace it and some of them don't. And you can
I
usually see.
yeah, I appreciate the fact that they recognize Fred specifically as a
Mhm.
character actor, which uh, to the one person online who was being rude as fuck to Daniel Roebuck in one of his stuff,
Uh-huh.
saying that he's just a character actor and that all these original actors were way better. They're all fucking character actors, you asshole.
Like, what do you mean?
The movie, they're just character actors. They don't have the prestige of the original crew. I'm like, the original crew were character actors too.
Again, I don't understand why people are trying to
But the main point
do.
is, don't be fucking rude.
Uh, I understand why people still try and compare the cast to the original cast when there's other casts that you could try and compare them to outside the original cast too, because
Hmm.
they're like what 50 years removed now.
Yeah, we do not have time to get into this rant again,
No,
though. I
we
didn't mean
won't.
to
But
take it in. I
I
just
do
wanted
want
to
to
call that
throw out
person out
because
specifically.
I do want to throw out because you did say Roebuck. Daniel Roebuck does appear in the
Oh
documentary.
yeah, he does.
So
Not voicing, but just images of him.
no, he talks.
Does he? I miss.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to
He's
step out
literally
of the room
talking
during
about
that part.
Fred. Yeah, he talks about Fred. He's in the America's First Family of Fright, and I think the Fred Gwynne story as well. So, definitely something to check out, guys. Like I said, this is gonna be a short one for you guys this week because we're on a time constraint and we don't have a whole lot of time later. So we
Yeah,
wanted to get
it's
this out, and it's
difficult to talk about these
a
documentaries because
documentary.
it's really something to experience.
Yeah.
It's just some interesting stuff that we noticed.
Hmm. Especially stuff that I wanted to touch on the things that we didn't know about of these actors and the characters and stuff like that. Not the characters, but the actual actors themselves. Things that we didn't know about going into this. Like we knew Fred did stories and he had a hard time with Herman and all that stuff. So it was nice to just watch this with open eyes of knowing the franchise, of knowing somewhat of the history, and being able to go, oh yeah, I know this, but I didn't
Mhm.
know this whole expanded part of it. So it was really great to see. Um, and like
It,
I'll
it
keep
was.
go on.
Oh, go ahead and finish your thought
I was gonna
now.
say I'll keep telling everyone, just get the box set, watch these. I'm sure they're on YouTube as well, but if you want to, if you're a Munsters fan, just get the box set. It's so much more beneficial for you because it comes with the whole original series, the first
70
two movies,
episodes, two
the
movies,
first
four documentaries,
four documentaries, the pilot, and extra colored version of one of the episodes. So
family portrait, the last
yeah,
episode of the original Marilyn. Oh my God, Pat.
yep.
No, Pat.
So yeah,
Yeah, Pat. Okay,
no,
Pat and Beverly.
Beverly was the original.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, it was definitely a worth getting. You can also, again, I'm gonna always say it, the munstercast.com/munsters box set. Just go there, buy it, guys. It's
Yeah.
stupid cheap. If you don't own it yet, just own
Oh,
it because you can't find this stuff on a streaming service.
no,
I think the Munsters is
they
on one of
locked
the
it behind a
streaming
paywall now.
services, but you can't find all the extras. Oh,
Uh,
so yeah, go on,
but
Tivis.
before we do our closeout, I thought it
Yeah.
was really interesting to see how both Fred and Al were ready for the show to end.
Hmm.
Like Al was getting bored of the scripts repeating, and Fred was just bored of it in general. He literally during the what is it, the send off party wrap up.
Uh huh.
I
Yeah, the wrap of the
okay,
last set.
he's like, go watch Batman.
Yeah, yeah. He's
He's
just like,
cheering Batman for helping them end.
get canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, but I totally get it, and the fact that they even came back and let everybody have the two movies that we got with those three actors, they were very nice and kind to do it because even for all the money they threw at them, they didn't have to do it. So that shows that there's something there that they still enjoyed about the Munsters in some way. And I know that in the documentary, and I've heard it before in other things too, that what is it? Fred did not talk about the Munsters a lot, but in private he was happy for what he had done with the character.
It's a little bit of Harrison Ford type stuff.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, when you're trying to get away from something, you're not going to talk about it constantly. I don't talk about things that I want to forget, so it's that simple.
That's why when we're not doing this show, he pretends I don't exist.
That's right. Even though I text you 100 times a day. I also want to remind people, go out and buy. I Married a Munster. My Life with Grandpa Al Lewis, a memoir by Karen Lewis, his wife. Definitely read that. I read it on my vacation last week, which was also a nice little addition into the documentary, which was pretty cool. I'm not going to talk about that book right now because I really would like everyone to enjoy reading it before I ever try and talk about everything in the book. So
Also, I should probably read it before.
Yeah, that too. I know we have a link on like our social medias to purchase the book as well. So just go over to like Facebook or Twitter and stuff like that and click on that link. It does give us a few pennies, guys. We enjoy those pennies that we get.
Literal pennies.
Literal pennies. They pay for us to keep the podcast going on the hosting service.
And thank you guys for all your support. We love the comments. We've been getting the feedback that just tell a friend about us, leave a review, whatever. All that helps.
Yeah, definitely. And also don't forget to pick up Marineland Carnival if you have not done so yet at themunstercast.com/Marineland Carnival. And you can pick that up. We talked about that an episode ago, I believe it was. So 2 weeks ago now. But one episode ago, one full episode. Yes, yeah. Tivis. You're thinking he's thinking about it. He's like, wait, is that right? So yeah, schedule. Final thoughts on the docu-series that we watched.
They're fascinating, and I learned a lot. If you haven't seen these, highly recommend watching them.
Awesome. Same. I loved them. I loved watching them. As Tivis stated, unless you're really into some of the stuff that Yvonne had done pre-Munsters, then you might be a little bored, but I still liked it. I just enjoyed it.
Was still a fascinating look at her life. It's not,
but I feel
it's not that it was boring,
fans,
it just wasn't as engaging as the others. Yeah. I'll say that.
Well, like for Fred, they dove into the Munsters like tragedy, I guess you would consider it, for him a lot sooner. Same with Al. Like they utilize those things as their pushing point as to these things happen. So the rest of their life was like, eh. And then
can you hear that?
Yes, I can. And then we had a Fred where it was like everything, and Yvonne was kind of like, you don't get really into the Munsters until like the last 10 minutes. So we're gonna try and ignore the noise coming from Tivis's house there. I'm not sure
she's
what's
yelling
going
at the
on.
cat.
He's got some Silence of the Lambs stuff going on. Anyways,
no, she's trying to give the one cat her eye drops. That's what's going on.
Oh, gotcha. Anyways, guys, we really appreciate you. We love you, and definitely check out all of our other episodes. Next week, though, Tivis, what do we have coming on for
our special Halloween Munster Monday, where we will be watching 1313 Mockingbird Lane, the failed pilot.
Yep. It's just called actually Mockingbird Lane, by the way.
See, I thought that, but every single time I just said Mockingbird Lane, you would correct me with 1313.
That's because it's on the poster. But it's just Mockingbird Lane, which aired October 26, 2012, guys. We will be talking about that. You made me
doubt myself.
Yep. We will be talking about that next week, as well as we will also be doing our Halloween episode for Operation Babel, which will come out next Friday. I think it's going to be.
Yep. I'm going to be watching both of those this weekend. So
definitely check that out too if you're interested in any of that, where we're just going to talk it. We don't break it down scene by scene or anything like that. So definitely check that out over on Operation Babel. And any last words, Tivis? This is a short one.
Yeah. I hope everyone has a wonderful week and a spectacular Halloween.
Yeah, definitely. And we hope that we didn't rush through real quick on this, guys. The documentaries are really just something that you need to see. And yeah, I guess until next time on Halloween, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.
ha, ha.